Alright, guys. So, I was talking to another veteran in Void Stalkers the other day, and they mentioned struggling to make ISK while PvPing and stuff, and there's a couple of kind of veterans consider them like old-time ways to make ISK and stuff, but if you think about them with a different perspective, you can integrate them into your other things that you're doing. So I figured I'd make a video scanning right around here in Jidandan, where I'm basically going to scan this system, and I'm going to systematically force the rat belts to spawn either a faction spawn or a Mordu's Legion spawn, which will give us a BPC worth 50 million or 600 million if you're lucky. And so the way faction rats work, in belts anyways, is that in belts you can get a clone soldier, which will give you a tag that's worth a couple million, or it can spawn a elder or a dark blood faction variant, which will drop a faction module, which can give you anywhere up to 200 million, or you can get a Mordu's Legion spawn, which can spawn as a frigate, cruiser, or a battleship, and if you kill that guy, he gives you the BPC of the Mordu's ship that you kill, which is worth anywhere from 50 million to 600 million. And so the lower the security of the system, the more likely these rare spawns get, and the more you clear the belts, the tougher the rats will spawn in them. And so old time people used to generate ISK by picking a low security status system and wiping the belts over and over in one system. But what we're going to do is just while we're out scanning, we do it, or in a system like Ami where people kind of do it regularly. I'll do this while I'm doing other activities as I go through. And basically, most belts out here are going to have a couple frigates and a destroyer. As you clear all the belts, you'll notice it'll be a cruiser and a destroyer, and then suddenly it's a couple battle cruisers, and then it'll be a battleship and a frigate. And once you start seeing battleships, you're really close to forcing either a Mordu spawn or a faction spawn. And so the way I'm going to scan the system is just kind of a passive way that I scan in order to force these things. And then as you're on, if you're in a certain system or an area and you're doing this as you're doing other activities, or in systems where players come in a lot and will belt mine or clear belt rats like Ami, entry points from HiSec, you can specifically do this when you go through, and a couple times a week, all in those systems like Ami specifically, usually twice a week, I'll pull either a Garmer BPC or a couple faction modules, and so that's 100 million to 400 million ISK generation right there for basically nothing, just my regular stuff. And I'm going to show you kind of how I do that as a basic example. So we've got a lot of signatures, or 3 anyways, right here that we want to scan. We're going to pick our first one. Use our hotkeys we set up in the other video, and while you're doing that, go to the top belt. I've just got auto-targeting missiles loaded. Every time it moves, you want to double click on it again to center it. Use these little arrows to move your things because it's a 3D interface, see, and you can't see depth. Size down. Nothing here at this first belt and no wrecks, so no one else has cleared it, so this system hasn't had any work done on it. But that's okay, we're still going to go through it for an example. sure you're watching this, and if somebody comes in, we start using our D-scan. We're going to save that into our corporation for you guys, because I don't do non-combat exploration sites. Battleship and a frigate spawn. Wormhole. I'm not paying attention to those. I don't need Operation Allies from other areas of space to come through. I don't dive because I use implants, so I'm just going to skip them. Another wormhole. Fortunately, that's all we've got here. But if there were more, I'd keep doing this. And as you can see, using the auto-target missiles and stuff, I'm just kind of passively not even paying attention to them as I kill them, unless I see a valuable spawn that I want. But once I see battleships in the system, it usually means if I want to specifically make IS this way, I can sit in just this system, and top to bottom, when you right click, that's always your top belt. And I can go through them top to bottom, clear them all, and start over, and you're going to get one of those spawns. You will guaranteed get a clone soldier, which is a couple million, all the loot you get from these guys, and then I also guarantee you at least once per hour you'll get a faction spawn or armor. By doing this in at least a 0.3 security or lower system, I guarantee one of those spawns at least per hour. And then we know which belt we're in because it'll say look at on the one we mouse over, so you don't have to pay that much attention to it. I don't need the meta modules those guys drop, so I don't generally loot them, but for battleships and stuff, you guys might actually want to get those bigger modules for free. So, wish I had more stuff to scan down. I'd go over it more. And you can see all the windows that I have up in the standing fleet. About covers what I can show you on this video. Hope it was useful. And now you know a quick way to, as you're doing other things, always generate ISK. And the key to surviving in this game is not being pigeonholed into one thing. Until the next thing I find out I can help you with, I'll see you then.